Page 17, Misty Night Blues. There's no note at the top of this to swing the eighth notes or anything. So I leave that up to you. However, if it's a blues piece, I will automatically swing the eighth notes. Unless there's a note saying play evenly, I will swing them. And that's what I'm going to do here. Like in the right hand, that first measure when the right hand comes in, it's here. It's written this way. I will swing those. I'll do it this way. So, speaking of the right hand, just watch the fingering. It's okay. On measure 4, and at the beginning of each line you have the number with the box. That's the measure number for that. And then you have to count across to find the other measures. I'm going to refer to measure 4, or the measure number. The little grace note there. I play those on the beat. Some people play them in front of the beat. You can almost play the two notes at the same time. Just release the little note. Experiment and see what you like. But when we play these together, I'm going to play them very quickly. I'm going to play it on the beat. And that's a lot of places, the same little grace note. Watch the accidentals. Look at measure 7 and 8. Right hand, you're here. It has an E flat. But when you get to the grace note in the next measure, that is an E natural. That flat sign is only good for that measure. We crossed the bar line there, so it is an E natural. Same thing in the bottom, the last two measures. That in the last measure, that grace note is an E natural. Even though you just had an E flat in front of it, there's a bar line between them, so yeah. Top of page 18, look at measure 13. Now first off, this is 8 VA. So instead of here, you're up here. It's a 3-1 fingering. You play it with the third finger and then put your thumb on it. Do it immediately. 16th notes, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4. Hey, it's like 1, 2, and 3, and those are even. They're not eighth notes. So 4 E and a, 4 E and a. Last measure there on the first line, it would be measure 15. That grace note, that's a G sharp, but it's an AVA up. Watch the fingering. 5, 1, 4. Puts you in position now. Measure 17, or the pickup to it you have here. Thumb, and then 3, 4. And then next measure is 5, and that's a whole note, you gotta hold it down. Getting tricky. Measure 19, look at this. Gotta hold that half note D flat down. Hold the C down in the next measure, it's a whole note. But in the next measure, that D flat is just a quarter note. So lift it up when the left hand plays that last beat, this one. And when the left hand comes up, the D flat comes up, everything together. So that G is by itself for half a count. Now the last line, the D flat in the second measure, the last line, it's a half note again. So hold it down. Page 19, and it would be starting on measure 27. The last measure, the first line. AVA again, you're here. Now we got two little notes. I play these on the beat. Some people play them before the beat. I'm not getting into it. But they're very quick because the rhythm, the beat goes on. And I have a habit of fingering these 2, 4, 3. Because I can finger that, once I get the hang of it, I can finger that more easily and more securely than a 2-3-2 or this is, I do this all the time. When I see that little ornament thing with two notes like that, I almost always, not always, but almost always will finger it 2, 4, 3. If I can't, sometimes it's 1, 3, 2. Here, it'll be 2, 4, 3. So it's starting at the measure. It's here, and then here, and then 2, 4, 3. The last note in that measure has to be with 4th finger. So you may want to put that in, because that sets you up for what's coming. So again, the last measure of the first line, real slow. It's here, 3, 1, 2, 4, 3. And then a 4 on the G, and then go on. Now the rhythm on measure 28. Let's just do this really, really slowly, because we got a bunch of 16th notes coming. So it's a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So it's 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Take out the 16th notes for a minute. Just forget them. Just go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You just got to stick in a little C, a C in the middle of the 2 F's. Stick in a C, so it's 1 and 2 and. Work that rhythm out carefully. Not a lot I think I can do to help you with it. You just got to count it out, because in the next measure it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and a, 4 E and a, 4 E and a, and 2 E and a. So what you'll probably end up doing is what most people do, and you'll just wait and listen to me play it, and then you'll just copy it. But I would really prefer you could figure this out on your own. Really do. So that line, starting at measure 28, is this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2. The left hand to help out a little bit. So we'll go over it again with the left hand. Let's go down to measure 33 in the right hand. You're here. No more 8VA. We're here. And then you're 2, 3. Then 2, 3. Cross over. And 1 or 2 here either. I'd probably do a 2. The thumb doesn't have to do everything. So just watch the fingering. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, whatever. And then the same basic rhythm here. And then the last note. And I'm going to hang on to that until the left hand finishes. Speaking of left hand, these things, I don't know how big your hands are, but this is quite common, this stretch. That's a chord. You don't have to stretch all that, because the hand can move. So it can go here, then here, and immediately when it's done with the F, it doesn't have to, it can come up, and so you can get here. So you're kind of moving the hand up. Rock. Use 5, 3, 1 on that second, 3 on the B flat. In fact, you can use the 3 on the C too. Whichever one is easier for you. I'll probably use a 3. 5, 3, 1, 5, 3. The pedal I help connect it a little bit, but we want to connect it with the hands as best we can. And that's really what the left hand is doing a lot. A little bit difference on page 18 when you get to measure 18. You got to hold the whole note down for the whole thing. Here. Even though the pedal's down, don't care, because you are changing pedal here, but you don't want to lose that F. Then you go into this. And it is a 2-1 here. This is a move you're going to have to look at the keyboard to get. Here. to look down and get at the left hand while you're doing this. So that right hand is going to have to be pretty secure here because it's not moving around. So you only have to glance down at the keyboard. You don't really have to study it. Just glance down and see where the key is, and you'll remember that image in your mind for a little bit, long enough for you to make that move. You'd be surprised at how well that works. It really does. Last line on page 18 is here. It's fine. And then we're back to this. Page 19, measure 26. That is the chord. E, G sharp, C. Lovely, huh? Then we're back to that. And then at the end, the very last measure on the F, 8VA down here, I'm going to hold that for 2 counts. And the last measure of this piece, look out. The hands get in each other's way. Now normally when you cross hands over, you always go on top. This is an exception to that. Look at this, the right hand's on the F, the left hand's down here, the left hand's got to play an A, it's here. It's got to go under, in this case the left hand's in. So lift the right hand up so the left hand can get under it. The reason is because the right hand has to play that E flat, and that's a black note, a black key, so it's got to be on top. And then after you play that on beat 4, then your left hand can come down. Let's talk about the pedal. They're saying legato pedal all over. If you look on page 17 there, measure 4, it's given the pedal, and then it says ped simile, which means just keep pedaling the way you're doing it. Now what they've been doing is pedaling every 2 beats. And it's legato. I like to hear the phrasing, so I would prefer the pedal go with the phrasing. So if you're starting a phrase, lift the pedal up so I can hear a break in the right hand. That's just me. You can legato pedal it all if you want. I suggest you experiment and see what you like. Pedaling with the phrasing is more difficult, more complicated, but I still like the sound better. And this is not a fast piece. Now, when you get over to page 18, on measure 18, they give you the pedaling for that, and then starting at measure 19, again, it's every 2 beats. You almost have to follow the right hand on some of those measures, because you're changing the pedal in the middle of a half note in the left hand. That's not going to help you. So you follow, it's every 2 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4. So change it every 2 beats, you'll be fine. And that's it, till you get to the end, and you know how it works on the end. I hope pedal and hands all come up at the same time and everybody's happy, yay. Big encore, everybody applause, and I want you to play it again. And again, and again, and again. I didn't demonstrate any of the pedal because it's simple overlapping pedal. Hopefully I don't need to do too much. However, I will show it in the play with me part. Speaking of which, let's try this out. I'm going to give us 4 counts. We'll play page 17. Then I'm going to stop, turn the page, and then I'll give us 4 counts again, and we'll do pages 18 and 19. But if you're performing this, you can't do that. You can't stop to turn the page. The beat goes on. So what do? At the bottom of page 17, after you play the C in the right hand, you're going to have to get off it real quick and turn the page. So the rest of this last part of this measure there at the bottom of page 17, that part you got to memorize because you're busy turning the page. So you're ready at the top of page 18 when the beat comes in. It's got to be right there. So you may have to practice that page turn. Again, this is not a fast piece. It's kind of a nice leisurely piece. It's just it's kind of a medium soft, whatever that is. You get the idea, I hope. Now, one caution here is if you're going to pedal it to break the phrases, make sure you hang on to that note. For instance, on measure 4, when you're doing this, if I lift the pedal up, I gotta make sure I'm hanging on to that, because if I don't, I get silence, I get a rest. There's no rest there, so I don't want that. So listen carefully. It's just left hand here, right hand here, foot's on the pedal. I'll give us 4 counts. 1 and 2 and ready and go and. Go ahead, turn the page. 1 and 2 and ready and go.